I appreciate the fact that you are talking with a lot of caution, because I know you work with INEC, and presently what the process which you're going through with Parliament, you need to talk cautiously. But a lot of Nigerians will see the caution in your choice of words today, and perhaps the kind of fear some people are envisaging that could cause crisis in the elections should there be further delay in the passage of the elections budget. But as it stands right now, clarify for us. INEC did say that there are some monies that will be needed urgently. How many or how much is that?
Well, quite honestly, I haven't looked at the breakdown. We've not really categorized the requirements in that way. But the presidency helped us in one regard, because there are some that initially in the letter to the National Assembly said probably should be considered in the 2019 budget. But after today's meeting, I think, first of all, the alleged discrepancies between what we asked for and what the president submitted have been ironed out. The president just said that the second tranche, which we've done in 2 tranches, the second tranche can and should come in 2019. So maybe that kind of separation, somehow you can look at that letter of the president and say that separation has been done. But a lot of it, especially things like I've mentioned monitoring, I've mentioned also the question of procurement of goods, many of which are not, some of it are not available locally. You have to place international orders for them.
In essence, as we go forward, Mr. Uzi, a lot of Nigerians who are watching by the sidelines, we want to know, most of your procurement, for example, the ballot paper printing and all of that, are you doing some of them in Nigeria, or you are printing out of the country?
Well, a lot of what the equipment and a lot of the things we require for the elections will be procured locally. But for those things that cannot be procured locally, where there are no capacities, they will be done abroad. Some even have components of foreign elements and then collation here in Nigeria. So it's a mixed bag, a bit of both. Sometimes you have the capacity, but they cannot meet up with the timelines. So you might have to procure these things abroad, and the elections cannot wait. So we'll look at all those things, and it's almost all our procurements are done by open competitive bidding, but it's only those sensitive, secure materials that the Procurement Act allows us to do some kind of selective bidding, where the sensitive nature of the things to be bidded for, like ballot papers or result sheets, we may have to do a competitive way, but not necessarily open competitive bidding as spelled out in the Procurement Act.
As INEC began the bidding for some of these contracts and some of these jobs, considering the fact that money is not on the table, you only commence bidding when money is around, right?
Well, it's a process, but you cannot award unless and until you have the funds in your account to meet the value of that award, so that we are, like in the past where you see government owing contracts with large sums of money. Procurement Act requires you to have the funds in your account before you give out the award. But the process can start, and we have started the process. For example, advertisements have been published in national dailies and the Tenders Journal as required by law. A lot of people have responded to those advertisements, a lot of companies, and we've sieved through some of those applications to see those that are qualified. And then when it comes to the expression of interest, we've expressed their interest. That's the first stage of the process. So after the expression of interest, we'll now go into the after analyzing those that are qualified, they might now be given to submit quotes at the relevant time when we have them to get the quotes and what prices they can do undertake those services or supply those goods. That is the next stage of it. So the first stage, the process has started, but we get stuck at a certain place. If the budget is not passed, then we'll be stuck at a particular place if monies are not appropriated and released to the commission at that very time. Okay,
Mr. Ajijola, if I look at the conclusion you made in your in the document that you published, and you did say failure to convene the National Assembly to pass the INEC budget urgently and long before the official resumption date of 25th September 2018 is capable of plunging Nigeria into an avoidable and unnecessary constitutional crisis, which must be completely avoided. So let's look at the safe area and the worst case scenario. What date do you think is perhaps the best time for this budget to be passed? And what is the worst case scenario if it's further delayed?
Yeah, thank you very much. To be sincere with you, as we stand right now, the budget should have been passed yesterday if that were possible. But that aside, I will say that everything should be done to get this budget passed in the next 1 week. I do not see why it should, although there is a major public holiday next week, Salah celebrations for a couple of days, but there's still 3 other working days. I think the Senate committee and the House committees should work overtime because this is a national issue and has national importance. And I think they should quickly make sure they tidy up everything that has to be done.
Mr. Ajijola, invariably, if you hit the nail on the head, you're saying that if the budget is not passed by the end of this month, there will be crisis.
If the budget is not passed at the end of this month, but is passed before the resumption, sometime early September, we could still, maybe it would give INEC some challenges, some difficulties, right? Because, for example, like party primaries would be going on, money to monitor it would not be available. But what I'm talking about is if by the if the budget is not passed by the 25th of September, which means that if the National Assembly does not reconvene before its current date of reconvening, then I am very sure that it's going to give us a problem down the line because there are processes that need to be done, and once they are not done, we cannot exceed the 28th of April. And once we are pushing,
we need to go. Say no more, Mr. Ajijola. There's a lot of fears already now because of that statement. And I will conclude the program hearing perhaps some words of hope from INEC. Now, let's get to the bright side of it. In 30 seconds, Mr. Oluwole Osaziuzi, the process has started. So what are you expecting from the political parties from tomorrow? Just in 30 seconds.
Well, basically, they should conduct their primaries in accordance with the Electoral Act and the Constitution and their party constitutions as well. It must be by democratic means, no impositions, no shortcuts. They must conduct primaries as required by law.
And you're saying that the new political parties cannot participate in the Osun election. That's what the INEC chairman said, isn't it?
Yes, he said so because the time for nomination has closed. So it's too late to reopen that nomination. The law doesn't allow us to reopen a nomination.
All right.
But they can participate in other elections where nominations are still open. We have elections tomorrow. Those 2 by-elections they cannot participate in. Osun, they cannot participate. But all other elections they can participate if they so desire.
All right. We need to go now because we're out of time. Many thanks to my partner tonight on the program, Mr. Oluwole Osaziuzi, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. Mr. Abiodun Ajijola is the National Coordinator of Election Monitor. Those frank words are beginning to bring some fears, but, well, I hope that those who are concerned will take action. But the news is that election 2019 has commenced from today. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Kimbale. Bye-bye.